Hi you guys, I just finished a beautiful page of my daughter's school photo. So this is her junior year, taken this past fall. And so it is time to use my scraps to make a card. So I have a card base. I've also cut a white piece that I'm going to use as the base to put papers on. And instead of rethinking everything and coming up, I'm going to use a similar concept to what I used on the card. And that is, I'm going to make some strips, scuff them up, put them on here, and then I'm restricting myself to the papers that I used on the layout, with one exception. The same paper kit has this fun hello paper. So what I think I'm going to do is cut a strip of this hello, 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 and see if I can make that. Yes, I can get 3 hellos and do that in a strip. So I'm going to do some vertical distressed strips, and then I'm going to do one strip across that says hello, hello, hello. So I'm going to make a hello card. Then I thought, well, do I just want to put those on white and scuff up the whole thing? So I may do that, but just in case some of the underside shows, I want maybe a little more contrast. I was trying to think, what do I want to do? And I think I'm going to use these watercolors. I'm not sure about this, you guys, just to have a little shimmer behind it. And I used this one on my scrapbook page, but maybe I want a little more contrast. And So this is where I've sped it up to 3 times speed. I am using that blush pink, and right now I'm just doing the edges. I don't need to do the whole card with the pink. I'm just going to do some stripes, sort of guesstimating where they'll be. I do have to come back and add a bit more at the end, but I'm doing this, setting it aside to dry, and then beginning to cut my strips. And what I decide on after some thought is that each strip would be about an inch. So the card base is 5 1/4 inches. So that leaves me just a tiny bit of space between each strip. And a little more than a tiny bit will show with the scuffing. So a little bit of that iridescent metallic pink will show up between on the outside edge and between the strips. So here I'm just doing 1-inch strips. And then I do end up at the end coming in and trimming the length on some of the strips so that that pink does show on the card. Because the look of that is better than the strips going all the way. So this is pretty straightforward. And each of these is a different pattern. Some, I think, 2 are floral, and the others are more geometric. One's polka dots, one's got a little bit of a graph on it. So here I trim them. There's a little bit more trimming at the very end as well. And I'm just picking the end of that I want because I liked the floral end to show. And then I realized that something I hadn't cut exactly straight. So I had to dispose of that one and cut another sheet. But luckily it had some of the floral on there too, because I really wanted that to show, so there was another floral element on the card. All right, so I have my strips, and then I'm just going to quickly go through and scuff each one. The scuffing tool that I'm using is an old Creative Memories scuff tool. I know Tim Holtz has a very similar one that you might be able to find available. The others I think have been as sort of special gifts, like hostess gifts and things like that. So I don't know which other companies have them available, but they last pretty much forever. I've had this one for ages. It fits in the hand nice. You have multiple access points for the blade, and it just makes scuffing a lot easier than and safer than using your scissors. That's pretty easy. I did all of the hexagons on the previous layout page using this tool, and that was a lot of scuffing, and it went really pretty fast actually. So now I lay them out and see where did I mess up my lines, where do I need to add more lines. So just dry fitting things and then taking a look and saying, all right, I need to add a little more pink in a couple of places. And then that will have to dry. This dried really quickly because I didn't use that much water. I didn't make the whole card wet. So it did dry really, really fast. That was a little, a little blow to try and speed it up. And now I'm just going to cut a strip to use for the sentiment. And the rows are, the words were pretty close together, so I'm hand cutting to try and get what I want. And then I think I put it in my personal trimmer to get a little bit closer and make sure that it's relatively straight, and to try and trim off, the letters from above and below. And then this gets scuffed as well. I did decide not to ink anything on this. The scuffing I thought was enough, and with everything sort of light colored, even though you have that one, it's sort of a gray, sort of a sooty color. I just wanted to keep it light and bright a little bit. So this is the grid paper that's the same as one of the strips that I did, and I just wanted to give this sentiment a little more substance, a little more, just another element. So doing it on that paper helps it stand up, makes it a little firmer. And then just adhering everything down. This card came together actually pretty quickly, I think. My total video was only about 30 minutes, which may sound like a lot, but that's pretty fast for me for a card beginning to end. So I'm pretty pleased with it. So, all right, that's ready to go. Just making sure I like everything. So I will say I just used my my regular adhesive, which is movable, and so I do come back after I have everything together and add a little glue on the ends of the strips, both top and bottom, to make sure that it stays in place as long as it might need to. But I wanted the repositionable nature of this to make sure I got everything sort of spaced the way I wanted it. As you can see, I'm making some adjustments here. So I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to pop this up using some Scotty foam tape. Give it a little dimension. And then fussy cutting out that butterfly. I did not use any bling on this card at all. I didn't think it needed it. It was kind of, you know, shabby chic. But what I do after I fussy cut this butterfly and scuff it up a bit is take that same pink shimmer and add it to the pink parts of the wings so that those get a little bit shimmery. And I thought that was a nice effect. And I just blot it up just so that it's more iridescent and still see-through rather than, because those metallic watercolors are pretty opaque. They're not completely translucent. So here I did pop those, put some foam adhesive underneath the wings to give them some permanent dimension. And we're going to assemble and go back to real time. Okay, there you have it. A card made out of my scraps, very much in the same style, except strips and not hexagons as my last page. Thanks, you guys. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.